What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's John, and it's Millsy back again. And before we start, a couple of things to highlight. As you know from last night's video, we are now sponsored by Flyers Indoor Golf. And really, really key to press home at this moment in time is match day parking. 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, 5-10 minutes. Depends how quick you walk. If you're Millsy, you do it in 4 minutes. If you're John, you stumble there in 15. But either way, you are
If you're
close.
Michael, you get there in 2 minutes because he's quicker to roll.
Over to Flyers. Get yourself on the website. The link is in the description below. Pay for your season ticket pass. Pay for the experiences. They've got food. They've got drinks. They've got some fantastic facilities. So go and share some love. Go and get on the website. Email them, say, Mike from Blue Boys Network sent me over, and Matt will hook you up. Guys, get yourself over to Flyers Indoor Golf.
Mike, can I just add? I've been there with my little boy, and it's amazing. So it's not. It's weird that it's your sponsor, and you guys have maybe got to plug it. It's amazing. It's a great place to go. So I think you could probably go down there and probably entertain your children first before even going the game. Get a car parking space, bit of lunch, and indoor golf and stuff. I've been there with my kids. It's a great place.
I think the big thing for me, to be honest, is the fact that, you know, my understanding is they're still going to be doing some golf between 10 and 12, sort of before the games, etc. So, you know, if there's a group of you, if you want to go out for the whole day, you go out, have a round of virtual golf, a few drinks, then it all packs up. It starts to get busy. Atmosphere. You've got people like me and John who are going to be there walking around the place, you know, having beers with people, you know, stuff like that, real positive stuff. It'd be a really nice crowd. So, Millsy, you'll have to come and join us on a match day, obviously. And
mate, I'll be there. I was on your video last night, and I inquired over the match day parking myself, because that's going to be applicable to me. Anyone like me who's going to ferry a young children to night games, a young child to night games, is going to need that. So I'm on there already. So thank you for introducing me to the fact that they can allow me to park. That's really good for me as an owner of a young Evertonian.
And they do offer, for anyone that, you know, doesn't have the money up front, it's fair enough, understandable. They do offer Klarna and ClearPay as you pay for the whole season. So there you go, guys. Make sure you get over there. Right, let's get into Everton now. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about some rumours, contracts, all this stuff. I'm going to start with Mr. Ian Mills, because Mr. Ian Mills, what's your take on the fact that it looks like Garner's going to be signing the new deal? Because he seems integral to this team. What's your thoughts on Garner?
Oh, mate, the whole he would leave would cause us massive issues. He's a player who, I think a couple of years ago, there was always the can we play Onana and James Garner shout, and can we phase Idrissa Garner guy out? And he was that good that, you know, he came through that. And I remember the season before last, he was scoring important goals at the end of that season. Last season, he got the Fans Player of the Year awards, the Players Player of the Year awards. He would leave a hole. We're going to be busy enough without having to replace our best player. I really hope that there's some truth in that he is going to sign a new contract, because I mean, I know me and you, John, have spoke of me today that he'd leave a void that it would almost become the most important void for Everton to fill, and we don't need that, do we?
The thing is, as I've always said, when you look at Garner guy, since he's come back to Everton for the second stint, when you watch what he does, and he just goes about the game, and a lot of time he goes unnoticed, but noticed, if you know what I mean, because he doesn't do anything that's sublime. He doesn't pack a punch with skill, but he does what he has to do. And he reminds me a bit like N'Golo Kante for the way he plays the game. And when you watch what he does, I totally agree with you, Millsy. That is a hard hole to fill, because as you pointed out, there's that many gaps all over the squad and all over the team that have got to be filled. To replace someone like Garner guy, it's going to be a hard job in itself, because players like him, they're very few and far between. And when you look at what Garner guy does, you could probably count on one hand how many other players in the Premier League can do what Garner guy does. So for me, out of all the players that we would have lost this summer, or we have lost, for me, he would have been the biggest loss by a country mile if he doesn't sign this contract.
So let me just, because I'm going to throw this over to you, because I am going to the cinema, guys. So when you see me in 2 minutes' time, I'm going to have a different top on. All right. So but John, you've just said he was the most important. I want to leave you and Millsy with this debate. Jarrad Branthwaite looks like he's going to sign a 5-year deal. I mean, that's huge to talk about the freaking group, the excitement, the fact that we want to go forward as a football team. How big of an impact is the fact that he's come out today? It looks like it's very much a go out. It looks like he's got the terms that he wanted. It looks like Everton are backing him. Everton are backing the plan, the manager, everything that we want. What's your take on that, John? And I'm going to leave you to debate that with our Mills here.
Listen, I said on a video a couple of weeks ago that if we could tie Jarrad Branthwaite down to a new contract, for me, regardless of whoever we bring in this window, that will be the best bit of business that Everton Football Club do, to tie Jarrad Branthwaite down. And it fills me with positivity to know that he's prepared to sign a 5-year deal. Because obviously, the situation Everton have been in the last couple of seasons, Everton have had to sell the project to Jarrad Branthwaite to get him to stay, because he wouldn't be short on suitors, Millsy. We all know that there was the clubs linked with him. Liverpool have been linked with him. Chelsea were linked with him. City were. Man United were. So David Moyes has had to sell the project to Jarrad Branthwaite, and the Freakins have had to sell the project to Jarrad Branthwaite. And it's obvious he's impressed with the project going forward. For him to want to stay at Everton Football Club for another 5 years. But I also think it's integral for Jarrad Branthwaite to stay, because David Moyes wants to build a team around him. Now, when you look at the spine of your team, you've got England's #1 goalkeeper, probably one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League, probably just behind Alisson, and that's up for debate. Then you've got Jarrad Branthwaite, and you've probably got Jake O'Brien, who's going to be the spine of the centre halves for years to come. And then we're tying Idrissa Gana Guy down. So, from your goalkeeper, your centre halves, into your combative midfielder, David Moyes. I'm not saying he's going to try and build a team around Idrissa Gana Guy, because he's probably not going to be here as long as the others. But it makes you look solid, doesn't it? And Jarrad Branthwaite, for me, signing this new contract, if it's not next season, I think it'll be the season after, he's going to be a future Everton captain. What's your take?
Yeah, I think it's important for all the reasons you just said, which is the player. It's also important. I mean, if you take I'm the same as you. I look at things with the tinted blue glasses, the emoji glasses. Massive Evertonians, we think our club and our players are the best thing going. But if you take a step back, it also protects the club in relation to if and when Jarrad does leave. If he has a fantastic season next season, I think eventually he's going to break into that England team, isn't he? And he's going to start playing for England. And I think it protects the club. I think if in the event that those things happen, you don't want the vultures to say, "Oh, with 2 years on his contract." You want them to say, "Oh, with 4." You want to say that there's no reason for Everton to be bullied at the table here. We've seen it with Lukaku. We've seen it with Barkley, where contracts tick down and you go into the negotiations with a weaker hand, don't you? And you're almost resigned to having to take money that you really don't think is the applicable value to the player. So it protects us in that way as well. But for all reasons you said, John, I completely agree. I think you look at him and he's a bit of a Rolls Royce, isn't he? Really, he's got everything about him. He can win a duel. He can recover fast. His positional play is good. He's a threat in both boxes. He scores goals. He's almost, if you're going to describe a left-footed centre half, he's almost what you'd create on FIFA. You'd create every attribute that he's got. But yeah, I mean, to have him on the pitch, massively important to have him on the pitch. But like I said, I think it's also if you look at the business side of things as well, I think to have him tied down allows us to fend off any low ball offers in the future.
Do you think? I'll ask you about this. Well, I'll ask you about it because I've got two questions here. One of them is, do you think players who are Everton are trying to sign in this window and in future windows will look at Everton Football Club and go, well, he signed one of the best English centre-halves that there's going to be up to a 5-year deal? Do you think that'll have any bearing on players who are getting linked with the club and players we're after? Do you think they'll look at that?
It'll reflect positively in the way that if it was the opposite, you'd be in trouble. If players coming in and seeing players fleeing and jumping and saying another mid-table team, i.e. Tottenham, is a better proposition than Everton, then that could reflect really, really negatively. So I think the flip side of that is if someone's coming to the table, potential new signing, and Everton have just tied down Jarrad Branthwaite, and that player speaks to Jarrad Branthwaite and he says, I believe in what we're doing. You should have seen what the manager was like with us last year. I really believe I'm going to give this 2 or 3 seasons. I think you're spot on, John. I think it can rub off in a positive way, yeah.
And my favourite saying on the channel, ask Michael this, because we sort of different opinions on what I'm going to say now. We can tie Jarrad Branthwaite down to a long-term 5-year deal. Do you think Everton insert a buyout clause into it?
No, I don't. And yeah, we do disagree on this point. Yeah, I don't see the point of buyout clauses because it just says, come and get me 80 million, 100 million. Unless that buyout clause is 120 million pounds or something stupid, I would not be putting one on our prized asset. For a player that you're almost happy to lose but want to generate some significant money from, yeah, fine, come get me. I'm 50 mil, I'm 60 mil, but for a Jarrad Branthwaite, no chance. Not for me, John.
And I think also as well, because we're giving them such a long-term contract as well. You know, if it was only a 2 or 3 year contract, then you'd probably look at inserting one of them. But with it being a 5-year contract, you know, he could be at Everton for the next 4 years. I hope it's for the next 10 years. But if someone tries to buy him with a year to go or 2 years to go because he's performed that well, then you can ask for a big fee anyway.
I want to move on to a player that we haven't been linked with recently. We spoke so much about Tieno Barry and his attributes and his qualities. So look, I actually don't want to talk about Barry, but I want to talk about what could happen behind him. July the 1st looks like a date that Everton are going to start signing players. And I'm interested, what sort of, you know, if you was David Moyes and you've been in the window and you've had negotiations with different clubs, you know, we move back to this argument about players like Jack Grealish, for example. Is that someone you'd like to see, or is that someone that you think would add benefit to Everton? What do you think?
Well,
Grealish in particular would certainly give you, what is he, 28, 29? So you're certainly going to get a couple of seasons out of him. It's not someone that you'd say is the potential for a resale value, i.e. when we signed Amadou Onana. I think we were all more than aware at that point that was going to be a flip sign, and Everton did flip and make profit on it. I think any signings like a Barry, I think Everton would probably look at it and say, well, we want value on the pitch, but we also want to, if he kicks on, we want to sell him for 65 or 75 to someone in 2 years' time. Grealish wouldn't give you that, but that doesn't mean that he wouldn't be appealing. I mean, a Jack Grealish coming in and telling the Everton players to give him the ball and he'll win the game for the next 2 or 3 seasons is a fantastic attribute to have on our team. I just don't think that you're going to get much of a resale, so I think Everton would have to structure the wages and that contract accordingly.
Do you think Everton sign him on a permanent, or do you think it's going to be a loan deal, though, because he's on £300,000 a week? And at the end of the day, Millsy, yeah, you know, there's a big European competition coming up in a couple of years, and if he wants to be part of that, we said on here the other week, he's going to have to start playing regular football. But Everton can't afford £300,000.
I can see both.
I
could see City,
lot of money, mate.
The relationship with him and City looks to be done.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
So next week sorry, in 3 weeks' time when City come back to Manchester, now if he gets the acid and he's got no locker and he's told he's absolutely not wanted, then Jack Grealish may make a decision that he wants to leave that football club permanently and forego money and then he might then say, well, football is that important to me now that I'm going to go and get a contract which allows me to play football. Or he may ride it out. He may say, I'm going to sit there and make you loan me out because I'm due the money. I don't know which one would happen, but I can see both. I think both are
At the end of the day, he can sit on his ass on the bench, can't he? And he can collect £300,000 a week for the rest of his contract. But I think, to be honest, if he does move and it's a permanent deal to anyone, the only people who can probably afford £300,000 a week is if he goes to Saudi. And I don't think Jack Grealish goes to Saudi Arabia.
No, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Regardless of Everton involved or not with Grealish, it all depends on the player. It's what motivates Jack Grealish right now.
Yeah, I think he wants to play football.
Okay,
he's a family man. Jack is a family man. His sister is, by all accounts, she's disabled. He's not going to want to leave his family. I think Jack Grealish stays in the UK. I don't think he'll ever move abroad. I think Everton could potentially be appealing because of the project, and he would almost be one of those first names, if you get what I mean. The start of something. So I can imagine how Everton could be appealing to him. It's just about wages for me, and if Everton can get to that level. Now, we know we probably can because we've had so many players leave Everton, through the books. We had even the loan signing wages is probably as much as what Grealish would want. So in terms of that, it actually isn't that big a deal spending even £150,000, £200,000 a week on Jack Grealish. I don't think it's undoable for Everton.
I agree.
I just don't think they maybe tie him up for long term if it's an option. I think it would be a loan option to buy at the end of it and see how much they can negotiate with City down. But for me, if you can get Jack Grealish on loan for a season, for me, it's a no-brainer. And I know people might say, he's washed or he's a bit old or whatever. But for me, you bring in a Jack Grealish, you know that there's a player there with real quality, real ability, and hopefully, like John's just alluded to, a point to prove for some European tournaments and England spots in the future. That's what I would say for me.
Yeah. It comes down to Jack, doesn't it? Well, like I said, what motivates him at the moment? Is it playing football and getting back into the England team? Like John said, there's a huge carrot to be dangled at the minute with a New England manager and a big tournament in the summer. Is he motivated to come to Everton and be Everton's best player in front of this fan base and stands out? If he is, it's a no-brainer.
I think Jack wants to be loved again, doesn't he? And this is the thing, it's gone stale at Man City. It's pretty obvious his days there are numbered. I don't think he'll play for City again. I don't see Everton paying £300,000 a week. As Michael said before, it'll probably be a loan deal, and Everton probably pay half the wages at a push, 200,000. I don't think they pay 200,000. And then at the end of it, if we can get him for next to nothing, then you can structure a wage deal with Jack. He doesn't have to move from the Northwest if he stays at Everton. And I'm pretty sure not so long ago, him and his partner had a newborn baby as well. So he's not going to want to up sticks to down south, I don't imagine, or to go to Saudi. I think if Everton dangle the right carrot and say the right things like they have done with Jarrad Branthwaite, I think there's a chance we get Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I agree. You've got to go and pull him. You've got to go and pull him because there's going to be competition on that dance floor.
Oh, mate,
for him.
Yeah, it will be.
You got to put your best shirt on, John. Your black cuffs, your white shirt with your black cuffs. You've got to go dancing behind him, doing all the right moves. He's going to be someone who's going to interest a number of clubs, isn't he? And Everton have got to sell Everton to him.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to touch on, really, and there's loads of things we could touch on, guys, but I think Everton have announced this afternoon that there is also going to be a Roma Legends game after the Everton-Roma game, which I thought was quite interesting timing, really, to be honest. And I'm not against it, by the way. I'm quite happy with it. It looks like you are getting 2 tickets for the price of one. Maybe that's because there was a little bit of fume around the non-member prices being slightly more expensive than last year, albeit I did look and the non-member prices are £5 more expensive than last year. Are you happy that they're throwing on another game after that game, or will you be going home early?
It's nice, isn't it? It's nice to see the legend, isn't it? It's going to be nice to have the option to go and get something to eat and come back to your seat. And I mean, I don't know what is an Everton legend. The real Everton legends are probably not fit enough to play. So you're going to have a team of of players that might, it might not appeal. You're gonna have some good players there. You're gonna have your Osmonds, your Jagielkas, your Leighton Baines's, but then you're also gonna have to fill that with players who are fit enough to play from eras where we weren't as successful. Now, I know from speaking to someone that going forward next season, Everton are going to keep the South Stands upper bar open for 2 hours post match, and they're going to keep the fan plaza open for 2 hours post match. So I think this will be an experiment for them. Really, this will be the full test for them. Is there a demand? Do people want to stay behind? Pop back up and see what's going on the pitch, and pop back down. Can Everton make money? But yeah, how many times have we criticised the club for not being forward thinking? So when they introduce things like this, you've got to say, why not? Why not give it a shot? But I'm certainly looking forward to seeing the return of the Senegalese prince, Mr. Oumar Niasse up front. That'll be a pleasure, won't it?
Brett Angel. Yeah.
Vinny Samways.
No, I just think, I think listen, we have certain players whom we can look at, and I think legends is a bit. The legends word is easily used, isn't it? It's very easily used, but I think you're probably going to get the likes of Tim Cahill, as you say. Wayne Rooney will probably play for us, as you say. Jags, Bainesy. But I think it'll be good for the younger kids to see the likes of them. The likes of Noah and Frankie, who didn't really see Tim Cahill and stuff like that. But listen, pre-season friendlies don't float my boat. They are pre-season friendlies for a reason, and it'll be great to get back to Bramley-Moore to watch it, but I'm not asked.
Well, that lot over the park do it all the time, don't they? They make money on things like this. They have their old players playing, and they have a big capacity, and they make money.
Yeah.
So let's
sell out. They sell out, mate. And listen, Bramley-Moore's going to be a full sellout, And I'd like to think it's going to be a lot of people's first time in Bramley-Moore. So they've got 2 matches, and as you say, they've got the bar that's going to be staying open, and they'll be as excited as what we were the first time we went. We've done it, we've experienced it. So I do think it's good that they're laying something like this on. But as you say, Millsy, it's money, isn't it? And I know you're getting 2 tickets for the price of 1, but they're going to make enough money on the bars. They'll probably sell a special program. You'll probably get special scarves. I don't expect them to bring a shirt out because the shit with the shirts anyway. So,
mate, I've just paid £55 for Hattie's kit. So she's 3. 55 quid. I've just paid.
Yeah.
The poor girl in the shop. I said to her, I'm not even going to moan to you because I know you've probably had it from everyone, but Jesus Christ, 55 quid. And she's like, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the away one.
The away one, it's been leaked, hasn't it, on that footy?
Yeah.
That looks nice, but my 7-year-old, his kit's going to cost me £115. 115 for the 7-year-olds, and then you'd have my 3-year-old's kit to it. 160 times 3. It's big money now. The club are bringing money in, and I can't moan. I can't moan because I want the club to bring money in, but
$9 on that website.
We don't just to clarify, people. We don't endorse buying.
So the Blue Boys Network condone.
No, we don't. I'll be buying mine out. I'll be buying mine out the club shop. Someone sent me a link today, but I'm not. Listen, I'm all for giving Everton my money because we're getting run properly. We're getting run like a business now, and whether you like it or you loathe it, as we said the other night, Michael, these are coming in now, and they're going to try and make more money than anything, which. Unfortunately, that's when you've got a brand new ground and you've got new owners and you're in the situation Everton are in. That's what they're going to have to do. And as I say, like it or loathe it, this is what we're going to have to put up with going forward, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, guys. Look, we are going to be leaving it there in 2 minutes, but I'm going to sort of do the ending to this so John and Millsy can shut the fuck up.
Swearing again.
That's rich from you, my boy.
That's all once. I'm not.
Fuck off the areas.
Brilliant.
It's a good job he's there. Seamus Coleman has signed another 1-year deal at Everton. Now, I think I speak for most Evertonians when I say it's a nice, warm feeling to go into the new stadium with Seamus Coleman as our captain for another year. Yeah. I don't think he's going to play very much, but it is nice that he will be in and around the place when we hopefully start to revive everything. John, Millsy, I'm going to give you 30 seconds each. So, John, we'll start with you as Millsy's our guest. 30 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1. What does Seamus Coleman mean to you? Go.
I think it's fitting that he's being given another 12-month contract to be able to play at Bramley-Moore on the odd occasion. But I think for me more, it's the fact that any new players that Everton do bring in, he will be the voice to them. He will tell them what it means to play for this football club, what it's like to pull the blue shirt on, and he'll make them realise that it's the best club in the world to play for. The fans are the best fans in the world to play in front of. So I think it's more Everton have offered him a contract to be in and around the dressing room and new faces more than what it is to be a playing contract, to be fair.
And as we guessed, John went over. Over to you, Millsy.
30 seconds is a long time. Pressure's on. 30 seconds for me is a long time. Echoing what John said, I think maybe not everybody realises that the training rooms and the at Finch Farm and the dressing rooms at Goodison Park, they're the captain's rooms. The manager has a separate room. The manager and the staff don't go in there unless they're addressing people. The captain runs that dressing room, and I feel a lot more comfortable with the rebuild that we're doing this summer. Like John said, that Seamus Coleman's in there running it.
Love that. And that was more 30 seconds. I mean, honest God, John, one day you'll be as good as Millsy. One day. Guys, look, as we said, thank you all for watching, subscribing. We've recently received some donations through Super Chats as well in the comments. So thank you ever so much for all of those. We really, really do appreciate it. It all helps with the funding of the channel. All helps with the future of the channel. So hopefully more events, more quizzes, more things will be happening, especially at Flyers, where, as we said, you can get yourself some match day parking, golf, gift vouchers, you name it, it is there. So please go down and show them some love on the website. The link is in the description. Guys, we will be leaving it there. Millsy, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you. You can see and hear Millsy on Across the Park podcast. He's recently done an absolutely sensational podcast with Alan Myers, which, to be honest, it's one of the best hour and 37 minutes watch I think I've had the privilege of watching. And of course, you will consistently see John on the Blue Boys Network for all of his grace, his glory, his style, wisdom, and his sophistication. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Up the toffees. Peace.